Good afternoon, Jepson graduates, friends, and family. I am Dr. Kristen Bizayo, Professor of Leadership Studies and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Finale. Our Dean, Dr. Sandra Peart, who usually presides over this event, is unable to be with us today, but she has taped a brief message for you that we would like to share.
Hello, I'm Sandra Peart, Dean of the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Finale, one of my favorite events of the year when we celebrate the accomplishments of our graduating class. I'm devastated to be joining you remotely rather than in person. I have two sons who've recently completed their master's degrees, and on the day that you watch this video, May 10th, I will be with them celebrating their accomplishments at VCU. I send my heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2025. I'll see you tomorrow in person when you cross the stage at the main event. In the meantime, enjoy Finale and have a wonderful day.
Finale is the bookend to our admission program from 2.5 years ago, Prelude. Time has flown by. At this ceremony, we recognize all of the wonderful achievements of our graduating class, and we extend to all of you our congratulations and our very best wishes for a bright future. About 530 of you registered for today's ceremony, making it one of our largest ever events of this sort. So welcome to all of our soon-to-be graduates and to the family members and friends who are joining us today. Please join me in thanking your professors who have inspired you during the last 4 years and the excellent staff of the Jepson School who put together a wonderful event and reception for you today. Parents, siblings, other relatives, and friends of our soon-to-be graduates, please know that we appreciate all that you did to help our students succeed. Jepson students, congratulations. Tomorrow, 76 majors will receive their diplomas, and 63 of you who have declared Jepson homeschool will walk across the stage with the Jepson group. Another 18 minors are also going to graduate as well. You are Presidential, Richmond, Oliver Hill, and Bonner Scholars, and members of Will, McDowell Center Fellows, and Science Leadership Scholars. You have served on the President's Student Advisory Board, Student Council, Student Conduct Council, Honor Council, and Student Governments as RAs, as OAs, Wellness 101 and Sexual Misconduct Peer Advisors, tour guides and admissions interns, and as research assistants at Jepson and in other departments. You were leaders for the Collegian, Counterculture Magazine, Aranam, APO Service Fraternity, UR Black Student Alliance, and Ultimate Club Frisbee. And you have been Division I athletes for men's cross country, women's cross country, track and field, women's lacrosse, football, men's basketball, and cheerleading. You are now heading to positions at organizations where you completed your Jepson internship, including CVS Health, KPMG, PwC, Bloomberg, Russell Reynolds, Brown Advisory, EY Consulting, Just Salad, and Alpha Sites. Others will work at ZRG Partners, Epic, Aon, Bank of America, Flowcast, and Gibson, Dunn and Crutcher LLP. 2 of you are joining Teach for America, one in New Jersey and another in Minnesota. One member of this class will be completing a fellowship with the Metropolitan Council on Jewish Poverty, and another will be completing a development internship with Wolf Trap Foundation for the Performing Arts. One of you will be pursuing a master's in epidemiology at the University of Michigan, another a master's in finance at the University of Austin, Texas, and another will be studying city planning at the University of Pennsylvania. 3 of you are pursuing a master's in public policy at Georgetown, the Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy, and Duke. And another is headed just down the street to VCU to complete a master's in social work. At least 2 of you will be pursuing law degrees at the University of North Carolina and the University of Richmond. Additionally, as of right now, 5 of you will be attending to the University of Oxford with a fully funded scholarship from the Jepson Scholars Foundation and studying applied digital health, evidence-based social intervention and policy, refugee and forced migration, health service improvement and evaluation, and history. My pages got flipped over. Fortunately, there are page numbers. You will join some 2,100 extraordinary Jepson alumni who live in many states and countries. Like them, you will soon use your Jepson education to improve the world. Perhaps, like Katie Heyer-Mandrell, you will drive change and innovation in a large organization, as she has at the United Parcel Service as president of U.S. Marketing Product and Revenue Management. Maybe, like Tim Bozbachenko, you'll be the president of the UK's Black Knight Football Club and will have met your life's partner in your introductory leadership studies course. Or possibly, like Ben Wallerstein, you'll co-found and serve as CEO of a social impact consulting firm, like Whiteboard Advisors. But whatever you do in the future, we're confident that you have the critical thinking and data analysis skills, along with an extensive foundation in the humanities and the social sciences. Please know that you are always welcome at Jepson. Come to lectures and send us news. Now, we'd like to share this video with you and your family members to give all of us a time to reflect on the last 2.5 years here at Jepson.
My most memorable academic experience was when we got to go on a police ride-along for our justice class, and also the day when we went to court and we got to experience how the justice system relates to leadership firsthand.
My favorite Jepson memory was going with my Reimagining American Democracy class to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts to see the Dawood Bay Elegy exhibit, which showed contemporary photographs of the Richmond Slave Trail by the James River.
In my Justice and Civil Society class, I was able to do a police ride-along where I spent about 4 hours riding with a police officer, and it was incredibly memorable to see what it's like from the police perspective.
I remember that moment in Dr. Price's critical thinking class when everything just sort of clicked. There was a moment of clarity after struggling with the material for a few weeks up until that point where everything just made sense. And moving forward from there, I felt like I could do everything in the class. That's what Jepson is, allowing you to struggle and then pushing you to a breakthrough.
Volunteering at Henderson Middle School, which is an underfunded Richmond public school, with some other students in my justice class has been one of my most memorable experiences. I've never had a volunteer component like that in any of my other classes, so being able to see the power structures firsthand that we were learning about in class was really powerful for me. And I think the experience opened me up to an entirely new level of empathy that I've been able to apply in my other Jepson classes, work experiences, and generally in life.
In my theories and models class, we were asked to study a group on campus, and we took the definition of group to be a little bit outside the box and decided to study the geese in the West Hampton Lake. And we determined that in the end, leadership in geese is laissez-faire.
I really enjoyed being a part of the McDowell Institute. As a fellow, the McDowell Institute is a group on campus that invites all majors and all disciplines to come together and have really thoughtful debates about everyday current affairs topics, politics, and economics. And I've really enjoyed getting to have dinners with different authors like Jonathan Roch and Gabriel Montaz.
In Dr. Hayter's Justice and Civil Society class, I was able to reevaluate the current impact that the Black History Museum and Cultural Center has and how its impact can be greater established within the city. This has given me such a purpose, and I now have a clear vision of what I want to do as an urban planner in the future.
I really enjoyed going to the Intercollegiate Ethics Bowl in Florida It was great because I got to debate other schools on complex ethical issues that we had practiced previously in Dr. Hidalgo's class.
My most memorable experience at Jepson was getting the opportunity to study international law at Cambridge through the Jepson and Cambridge program with a lot of my other classmates. Through the program, not only did we learn a lot about law, but we also got the opportunity to take field trips into London to see how their court system works.
My most memorable experience was competing in the online ethics bowl with my ethics classmates this first semester. It was really the perfect culmination of everything that we learned and had been practicing in class, and it was a great way to finish my first semester as a Jepson senior.
My most memorable experience at Jepson was volunteering at a local middle school with Dr. Williamson's Justice and Civil Society class. It was a wonderful experience to apply what we were learning in the classroom and to meet lots of wonderful kids from different backgrounds.
Taking the Jepson elective class called How the Populist Narratives Threaten the Regional Stabilities. This class was taught by the former ambassador of the US, Ambassador Godfrey. I really enjoyed this class because I got to get the insights of the diplomatic practice, and it was also interesting because I'm an international student from Serbia, which is the country where Ambassador Godfrey served.
My most memorable experience in the Jepson School was doing hot seat debates in Dr. Flanagan's Ethical Decision Making in Healthcare course. This experience taught me how to argue both for and against complex issues, which I will use in my future career.
One of the hallmarks of Jepson is that there are so many classes that encourage you to step out of your comfort zone. One of those classes in particular is Leadership Ethics I took with Dr. Flanagan. This class really encouraged students to share their different ethical beliefs and opinions and have the freedom to do that in a classroom space, which will give us confidence to do that in the real world.
In my leadership ethics class, I loved how we were able to apply leadership theories from the classroom to real-world context. One of my favorite ways that we did this was when we talked about corporate responsibility and how companies do or don't have a political responsibility to engage in social contexts.
Critical thinking helped me become a more persuasive and effective writer, which has helped me in other college classes and in my communication skills overall.
I think two classes that challenge my perspectives the most are ethics with Dr. Flanagan and Justice and Civil Society with Dr. Hayter. Both professors just have such fun personalities and have such a wealth of knowledge and so much passion about their topics. I left both of those classes with totally new perspectives and with a much more nuanced understanding of the world.
Well, I would definitely have to say Leadership Ethics Applied in Field with Professor Javier Hidalgo. That class exposed me to something known as ethics bowls and gave me the opportunity to preach what I thought was an ethical dilemma solution, and then compare what my personal beliefs were with other individuals from other schools around the countries, and have judges weigh in and have a huge discussion at these events.
My elective with Dr. Williamson, Reimagining American Democracies, there's just so much history in that time period of the civil rights movement that you just don't get as in depth in high school. And with all the guest speakers bringing in new and varied perspectives, it not only made me a better person, but a better thinker.
In Dr. Henley's Killers and Coast class, I learned how dark leaders manipulate their followers for evil ends. This can really help my career as a lawyer.
I would say critical thinking with Dr. Hidalgo. I think he challenged us to think deeper, and also it inspired my career and aspirations to be in sales, where I get to think critically and work backwards to help the customer.
Dr. Flanagan's ethics class really challenged my critical thinking skills. She'd always throw us a curveball that would challenge our assumptions.
In Dr. Hidalgo's Leadership in an International Context course, we would roleplay historical leaders. Through this, we learned how to step out of our own perspectives and put ourselves in the shoes of historical leaders and learn their views.
Dr. Bazayo's critical thinking class was the most challenging course that I've taken in the leadership school, but also the course that helped me grow the most. It was extremely fast-paced, and we also learned about symbolic logic, which was very interesting. It is basically turning sentences into logic and math.
A class that taught me to think differently is Leadership and Ethics, taught by Dr. Flanagan. And one of the things I loved about it is it taught me how to keep an open mind to other people's morals and what they believe is right and wrong, because there always is room for us to grow and change our own morals.
Jessica Flanagan's Leadership Ethics class was one of the most challenging courses I've taken at Jepson.
Every day, the material made me question decisions that I've made in the past, decisions that I was currently making as a college student, and where I was going to lead my life in the future.
So in all of my Jepson classes, I really feel that I've been encouraged and challenged to say what I believe. But in my leadership ethics class, I actually had the chance to figure out why I believe those things.
One important principle that I have learned from the Jepson School is the concept of transformational leadership. I have really tried to embody this concept in my role as a French assistant teacher. I have found that approaching my students with a kind and empathetic approach really helps them to build their confidence and encourage their skills and learning in French.
I have applied my leadership skills in a plethora of ways. One example of that is through the Benchtop Innovations program, a university program where students take unique ideas and turn them into profitable consumer packaged goods. Here, I work with students from across the university, learn to pivot, embrace unique ideas, and our unique authenticity.
As the captain of the Ultimate Frisbee team, I've used what I've learned about transformational leadership at Jepson to help inspire my team on and off the field to be the best version they can be.
I think Jepson has helped me learn how to collaborate with people, have critical discussions with people that are different than me and think differently than me, and also empower people to be leaders in their own groups and organizations.
Some people believe that you can only be a leader or a follower, but that's a false dichotomy. Everyone has something to bring to the table, and that's what I learned through my time as the editor-in-chief of RNAM and as the president of the Global Studies Honor Society, that it's my job to create an environment where everyone feels welcome and able to share.
In serving as a policy intern at a fair housing organization, I've applied co-creational leadership where I have valued open communication and collaboration.
In my leadership roles, both as the treasurer for the Black Student Alliance and my off-campus commitments, my favorite thing that I've used from Jepson is the distributed leadership model. It's really capitalizing off of the unique values and traits that everyone brings to the table.
In my Theories and Models of Leadership class here at Jepson, I learned a lot about follower and leader behavior that gave me the confidence to become the president of Women's Club Volleyball here at the University of Richmond.
I am the chapter president of Alpha Phi Omega here at the University of Richmond, and my Jepson education has taught me not only the importance of getting into my community and volunteering, but also how to foster a collaborative and supportive organizational environment.
Jepson has taught me that leadership is a relationship between people, which has helped me develop my interpersonal skills.
As a captain of the women's lacrosse team, I use leadership principles such as ethics, group dynamics, and critical thinking when communicating and working with coaches and fellow teammates.
Theories about leader-follower dynamics and leadership styles has guided my interactions with people at internship sites, during volunteer roles, and in student organizations. And secondly, skills like critical thinking and interpersonal communication that I've developed through my classes has made me a more effective communicator.
As an executive board member of the NCAA Student Athlete Advisory Committee, I use skills that I've learned in my leadership classes, such as group dynamics and public speaking, to organize and facilitate group discussion.
On campus, I've held multiple leadership positions, and last summer, as an intern, I was one of the solutions development leads at my internship. What I've truly learned from Jepson that I've applied in all these positions is how to communicate and collaborate with people. Regardless of disciplines and backgrounds, Jepson has prepared me to know how to solve a problem, how to approach it from different angles, and understand people's perspectives.
I've gotten the chance to do a lot of research with Jepson, most recently my senior thesis, which looks at the way people interpret the world and how it's impacted by the laws our politicians make. I'm actually going to get to present my research at a conference in February in Denver.
I'm currently conducting research under an honors thesis, and it's titled Leadership as a Social Determinant of Health: How Leadership and Changes in Leadership Influence Black Stroke Mortality Within Richmond's 20th Century. And I'm currently applying to graduate programs in public health.
My Jepson honors thesis focuses on how social belonging in higher education institutions can be potentially impacted by the size and selectivity of the institution. And I plan on using my research in the future as a civil rights lawyer to examine how belonging can affect those impacted by civil rights legislation.
I'm working on a research project right now about how different people interact with ChatGPT and the different traits that they associate with it, like gender, age, and voice.
I did my summer research on women in insane asylums during the 19th century, and through this process I gained a lot of knowledge in research techniques, which I then was able to apply during my summer internship at a nonprofit.
This past summer for my Jepson internship, I did research on measuring the quality of care in low and middle income countries for a local nonprofit. And now for my senior thesis, I'm studying the ethics of gender affirming care in adolescence and overall ways to approach risk in pediatric care, which ties right into my future goals to be a physician.
I have been conducting research with Dr. Van Ruden, looking at the gender differences in status and well-being. In my future career as a physician scientist, I hope to take these interdisciplinary perspectives to be able to apply the research findings to as many different types of people as possible.
I'm doing social sciences research with Dr. Hoyt, and it's on U.S. opinion on our foreign policy with Israel since October 7, 2023. And I'll be presenting my research at a research conference in February, and it's been really beneficial in helping me with my grad school applications, and I look forward to studying public policy in my future.
This year, I've been completing my senior honors thesis under the guidance of Dr. Thad Williamson, researching how residential segregation has impacted Richmond both historically and today.
I have had 2 research opportunities at Jepson, both with Dr. Pizzaio. One is an honors thesis studying 2 different murder cases and invisible leadership, and the other is on the cinematography of horror movies. I am hoping to apply both of these research opportunities to studying the entertainment industry in graduate school.
I completed my Jepson internship at the Long Beach Island Foundation of the Arts and Sciences in Loveladies, New Jersey. And I learned that leadership isn't a prescribed role, but an action that anyone can take.
I completed my internship with the Department of Justice, and throughout my internship I learned that leadership is about leading by example and completing all the small things correctly.
This summer I interned at Prove Identity, which is a tech startup located in New York City. There, I worked on the sales team and learned from my mentor what transformational leadership means.
I completed my Jepson summer internship at Barron Capital Management as a fund accounting intern. And during my internship, I learned a lot about critical thinking, what it takes to be a good mentor, and what kinds of leadership styles work in different workplace environments.
This past summer, I interned at Cushman & Wakefield, a commercial real estate firm in their Baltimore location. And what it taught me about leadership was the longer tenured men and women took me in and gave me an idea about the ins and outs of the company, teaching me about leadership.
My Jepson internship was with Voices Center for Resilience, a nonprofit who served families, survivors, and responders impacted by 9/11, and it taught me about servant leadership and how important it can be to lead with empathy and lifting up others.
This summer, I worked in Washington, D.C. for a public policy consulting firm called Mellman Consulting. And I think the thing that I learned the most was the importance of transformational leadership by looking at my amazing bosses.
I interned at Just Salad last summer on their development team, and I really learned how transformational leadership can inspire an organization. I'm hoping to return there full-time as a real estate analyst this summer.
I did my Jepson internship at American Jewish Committee, which is a nonpartisan, nonprofit advocacy organization, and I was at their headquarters in New York, specifically in their interreligious and intergroup department. And my main project for the summer was creating a report and crafting recommendations about Muslim-Jewish relations on campus.
This past summer, I completed my Jepson internship at Sensata Technologies as an HR talent acquisition intern. There, I learned a lot about transactional leadership from my manager, and I hope to use these skills in my future career of recruiting.
I completed my internship last summer at the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office in Boston, Massachusetts, and I learned about the real human implications that leadership decisions that we make every day have on others.
I worked at Red PR this summer in New York, where I had a lot of hands-on experience working on the launch of a new skincare line.
This summer I interned at Alta Concierge in Los Angeles, which is a lifestyle and travel concierge firm. And I learned that when leaders lead by example and inspire their followers, truly incredible things can be achieved.
After graduation, I'm really excited to move to Baltimore, where I'll be working at Brown Advisory, an investment management firm. I'll be working as a portfolio analyst on their wealth management team.
I'll be attending law school in the fall, and I'm looking forward to applying the critical thinking skills that I learned in class with Dr. Pizzaio.
Last summer, I had my Jepson internship at PwC in Denver, and this upcoming fall, I'll be returning as an audit associate.
I did my Jepson internship at the KPMG Richmond office, where I received and accepted a full-time offer to work this fall as an audit associate in Richmond.
Next year, I will be moving to Charlottesville to attend UVA. I will be getting my master's at the Batten School in Leadership and Public Policy with a Merit Fellowship.
I will be joining CVS Health in their 3-year General Management Development Program. I thankfully received this offer after completing my Jepson internship with CVS Health this past summer, and I can't wait to get started.
I did my Jepson internship at Russell Reynolds Associates, a leadership advisory and executive search company in Houston, Texas. I was fortunate enough to receive a full-time offer, which I will be going to in Dallas this summer.
After graduation, I'm going to be working in New York City as a customer experience consulting analyst at Ernst & Young, and I'm excited to return there after doing my Jepson internship there this past summer.
After graduation, I'll be working in corporate finance on Chubb's reinsurance team in their Stanford office.
After graduating, I'm going to be joining Alpha Sites full-time. I actually did the internship in their New York office this summer. Absolutely loved it, and I am very excited to return.
I did an internship this past summer, customer support internship at Bloomberg in New York City, and I'll be joining them in July for a full-time position, which I'm really excited about. But before that, I hope to just enjoy senior year and really soak up the last couple moments.
It's wonderful to hear all of the exciting things our Jepson students do and just how very different they are. My name's Kirsten Soderland. I'm one of the Associate Deans at the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. And I want to make 2 announcements before we move forward. One is to say that this wonderful video will be up on our website in the alumni section shortly after we get through commencement weekend. And also to let you know that as we are bringing people up on stage to be recognized today, we do have a photographer taking Zoom photos from back somewhere, and so there will be photographs also that we'll be able to share. I have the good fortune to work with students in a variety of capacities at the Jepson School, and today I'm really pleased to be able to recognize individuals who've served the Jepson School during their 2.5-year tenure in our community. So I'm going to call all of the students at once. We're going to come up, we're going to line up, we're going to embarrass you, you're going to line up all the way down the stage. And so I will ask if everyone could hold their applause until we get the whole gang up here, and then we'll be able to recognize them all at once. So, and we have some swag for those of you that I am about to recognize. All right. Amal Ali, Jepson Corps. Claire Bruton, Ethics Bowl. Craig Caudle, Jepson Corps and ILA Case Competition. Calvin Chorba, Ethics Bowl. Sugona Sise, JSGA. Isabella DeRosa, JSGA. Lane Grillo, JSGA. Christian Harold, Jepson Corps. Anna Laura Houston, JSGA. Shafali Camilla, Ethics Bowl. Alex Konigsberg, JSGA. Clara Kugelman, JSGA and ILA Case Competition. Eleanor Lapin, JSGA and Ethics Bowl. Harrison Lehman, Jepson Corps and ILA Case Competition. Zach Middleman, Jepson Corps. Cheryl Open, Jepson Corps. Dalston Osman, Ethics Bowl. Larkin Owens, ILA. Rachel Ruth, Jepson Corps. Caleb Silverglide, JSGA and Ethics Bowl. Bennett Slossman, an Ethics Bowl. Abby Smith, JSGA. Nina Shritenovich, Jepson Corps. Camden Thomason, Ethics Bowl. Liam Weaver, Jepson Corps, and Zaki Williams, Jepson Corps. It's a wonderful group that served us so well. All right. We'll let you go down on either side of the stage, whichever is closest to you. Thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Organized chaos.
I'm just going to wait for them to start filtering a little. Okay, cool. So back in fall of 2022, when your class was admitted to the Jepson School, several of you elected to become science leadership scholars. The goal of the program is to provide students with the opportunity to study leadership in the context of scientific pursuits, the ethical challenges associated with the way that science is conducted, and the impact that science has on the global community. At this time, I ask that all science leadership scholars stand at your seats and be recognized as having completed this program. So, please stand. The Gary L. McDowell Institute Student Fellows Program is a cross-school co-curricular program that encourages free inquiry, thoughtful deliberation, and rigorous discussion of classical texts and issues. The program welcomes students regardless of their political perspective and allows fellows to engage with ideas across the ideological spectrum, including conservative, liberal, and libertarian ideas. At this time, I ask that all McDowell Institute Student Fellows stand at your seats to be recognized as having participated in the program. The Jepson School of Leadership Studies Honors Society recognizes outstanding academic achievement in leadership studies. To be eligible for membership, a student must be a major in the top 10% of the class with a leadership studies GPA of 3.5 or higher and a cumulative overall GPA of at least 3.2. This class kept the bar very high, with no student earning below a 3.9 GPA in leadership studies. Would the following students please come up to receive their honor cords? Jacob Ellis, Madeline Fellner, Christian Harold, Eleanor Lapin, Harrison Lehman, Emma McWilliams, Larkin Owens, Jackson Sandler Bussey, Ben Scher, and Amelia Steinberg. I think we got somebody coming from upstairs. Run, Ben. Let's applaud Ben on his way in. One more round of applause as they go back to their seats. Thank you. Honors in Leadership Studies signifies successful completion of the honors track by a major with a proven academic record and a scholarly drive. Students who earn honors in leadership studies develop a research project on a question in the study of leadership, spend a full academic year and a half working on this project with a Jepson faculty member, and write an honors thesis. As I call your name, please come forward to the stage to be recognized. Amal Ali. For the project, The Role of System Justification in American Public Opinion on U.S. Foreign Policy in Israel and the Occupied Palestinian Territories since October 7th, 2023, with Dr. Crystal Hoyt. You guys can actually cycle all the way through. I know we made everybody line up before, but Mary Beatty. For her honors thesis, Murder, Morality, and the Media, a cultural analysis of Lizzie Borden and Sarah Maria Cornell, with me. Craig Caudle. For the honors thesis, Civil Rights and Tobacco Labor Activism, a case study of tobacco labor activism in 20th century Richmond and its impact on Black stroke mortality, with Dr. Lauren Henley. Jacob Ellis. For Reversing Residential Segregation in Richmond, Recommendations for a More Inclusive Future, with Dr. Thad Williamson. Madeline Fellner. For her thesis, The Impact of Florida's Don't Say Gay law on the Stigmatization of Gay Students, with Dr. Crystal Hoyt. Christian Harold. Her project is entitled Evaluating the Role of Institutional Size and Selectivity in Determining Social Belonging, with Dr. Bo-Yun Park. And Alex Koningsberg. His thesis was An Ethical Defense of Puberty Blockers as Gender-Affirming Care for Adolescents, with Dr. Jessica Flanagan. Can I invite Rob Loscalzo up to the stage?
Good afternoon. My name is Rob Loscalzo, class of 1994, and parent of class of 2025 Jepson graduate. It's my pleasure to be here to present this award from the University of Richmond Alumni Association. This award recognizes a Jepson senior who has demonstrated outstanding engagement both inside and outside the classroom, as reflected in GPA and campus leadership. The recipient of this award truly embodies the tremendous diversity of interests that Jepson students and alumni have and pursue. Jepson faculty note that this year's recipient continually stands out among their peers as a thoughtful, respectful, and mature student with an innate curiosity in a variety of subjects. In the classroom, they are conscientious, passionate, and pragmatic, and they note that it is more than just this individual's demeanor that makes them a stellar student. Jepson faculty say that the recipient of this year's award asks thought-provoking questions that are engaged, creative, and poignant, and their presence in class not only enhances their peers' experience, but makes teaching itself a more enjoyable exercise. Additionally, this individual has engaged in a wide variety of research throughout their undergraduate experience, weaving together various disciplines. Outside of the classroom, this individual serves on 2 high-level administrative search committees at the university. They're an EMT, have completed a health-based and another sustainability-based internship in the city of Richmond. Is a member of Jepson Corps and is a university cheerleader. Until that last line, and it may have been able to keep this mystery going, but at this point, I imagine now most of you know, the recipient of the class of 2025 URAA Jepson School of Leadership Studies Outstanding Senior Award is Craig Caudill.
We're not taking it away from him. It's just very heavy, and so we didn't want him to have to take that back to his seat. So the Clarence J. Gray Achievement Award for Excellence in Scholarship and Leadership is the next award that we're going to recognize today. Established in 1973 by members of Richmond College class of 1933 in honor of their classmate Clarence J. Gray, the C.J. Gray Award is given to up to 4 graduating seniors, 1 from each college, so Jepson, Robbins, West Hampton, A&S, and Richmond A&S, who are members of both Phi Beta Kappa or Beta Gamma Sigma and Omicron Delta Kappa or Mortarboard. So you have to have the right combination. And who have outstanding 4-year records in leadership, in scholarship in their schools. The recipient of the Jepson School's 2025 C.J. Gray Award is Harrison Lehman, and I'm going to ask Harrison to join us on stage. Harrison, are you at? Oh, he's over there. You want to join me on stage? Come on. Why would we not make you come up? Come on. Come on over. Harrison is actually going to receive his award this evening at the Student Excellence Dinner, because it is sort of a university chosen award. He does look lonely. Harris is a member of both ODK and PBK. Dr. Terry Price says that Harrison is one of the top students he has taught in his time at the university. As a member in the McDowell Institute Student Fellows Program, Dr. Price says Harrison is a key contributor and leader among the group, and that when he asked McDowell faculty discussion leaders for the names of committed participants, Harrison's name is always among those at the top of the list because of the strength of his contributions. Dr. Jess Flanagan says Harrison stands out among Jepson students for his academic ability, noting that in class, Harrison draws other students into the conversation, takes risks, and contributes to discussions at an exceptionally high level of intellectual engagement. She also says he is an excellent scholar, incorporating research from various disciplines to support original lines of inquiry, and his argumentative abilities are top-notch. Even when discussing challenging topics, Dr. Flanagan says Harrison shares his views on each topic in a way, in a way that invites and emboldens other students to disagree with him and share their thoughts. He makes it clear that he welcomes a conversation with people who disagree. He is not easily offended, and he encourages his fellow students to participate in the conversation regardless of their viewpoint. Both Drs. Price and Flanagan also acknowledged Harrison's enthusiasm about supporting the Jepson School through his service in things such as being the student representative on the Academic Affairs Committee and as a member of Jepson Corps. So let's have a round of applause for Harris. Good to go. The Frederick M. Jablin Award for Undergraduate Research is given in honor of Dr. Frederick Jablin, beloved professor and scholar at the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, who had a passion for research and delighted in working with young scholars to foster this enthusiasm in them. Faculty who have worked with this year's recipient of this year's Jablin Award for Undergraduate Research note their ambitious and eclectic research agenda, marking them as a truly transdisciplinary researcher. It's actually difficult to craft a surprise introduction of this year's recipient because as soon as I begin to provide details, many of you are going to know exactly who I'm talking about and who's receiving this award. But details seem more important than the surprise. The research of this year's Jablin recipient spans physical chemistry, epidemiology, history, and more. They have co-authored 4 articles on the chemistry of ceramics, transcribed more than 1,000 newspaper articles about a case of religiously motivated historical serial murder in Louisiana and Texas during the early 1900s, identifying trends within that data set, and has been engaged with NIH-funded research on historic public health disparities in the tobacco industry since summer 2023, and that has become the crux of their honors thesis. The individual's thesis has resulted in an impressive study at the intersection of Black labor history, spatial geography, and epidemiology that demonstrates how Black tobacco workers in Richmond use the power of collective bargaining to fight against discrimination within their workplace, and how the tangible consequences of their protests improved health outcomes for the larger Black community. It is my great pleasure to present the Frederick M. Jablin Award for Undergraduate Research to Craig Caudle. Our next award was established in 1994 by Mr. and Mrs. Robert S. Jepson, Jr., and it's the James McGregor Burns Award. It is presented to a graduating senior in recognition of accomplishments as a student in the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. The award winner has demonstrated an outstanding grasp of the body of knowledge associated with leadership studies, excelled in his or her activities at the university generally, been actively involved in service to the school, university, and community, and has displayed the capacity to both lead others and help others lead themselves. Dr. Thad Williamson, when commenting on this year's Burns Award recipient, said the individual is a superb student who has compiled an impressive and impactful record of public service on a variety of issues, adding that they are already a force for racial and social justice here at the university and beyond, with a truly outstanding promise for an impactful career in public service. Dr. Javier Hidalgo said that this individual is an active and vocal participant in class discussions and debates, and that their contributions are thoughtful and engaged with the course material and carry the discussion forward, provoking debate and discussion. He adds that this year's award winner's investment in the classroom is demonstrated again and again in high-quality participation in class, high-quality written work, and frequent conversations outside of class time with their faculty to continue to probe and examine what was discussed in class. The recipient's academic prowess has led them to serve as a faculty research assistant, a keynote speaker for a nonprofit organization in Richmond, and a student fellow with a national think tank that promotes efforts to dismantle structural inequality. Outside of the classroom, this year's recipient was a driving force behind the creation of UR's Counterculture magazine, an organizer for a campus-wide march and vigil against sexual assault, and an active participant in challenging conversations about the renaming of several UR buildings formerly named for persons with ties to slavery and racial segregation. One of our faculty notes this individual is a recognized and trusted voice of and for students of color at Richmond, as evidenced by their leadership with the Black Student Alliance and regular presence speaking out against racism and racial stereotyping. It is my pleasure to present the 2025 James McGregor Burns Award to Christian Harold. I'd like to now invite the 2024-2025 JSGA co-presidents, Anna Laura, it's gonna do it, I almost did it right, Houston, and Clara Kugelman, who will share some remarks and reflections with their classmates.
Gotta wait for my other partner in crime. She's on her way. Silence isn't really our forte. Okay. Good evening, students, faculty, staff, and families. My name is Clara Kugelman.
And I'm Anna Laura Houston. And we have the And we've had the honor and privilege of being the co-presidents of the Jepson Student Government Association for the 2024-2025 academic year.
And when we say it was a privilege to serve you, the students, we sincerely mean so. The Jepson School of Leadership Studies is marked by the intimate community and the unique learning experience. Inside of Jepson, the classroom is not a mere obligation. Rather, it is a space to investigate morally entrenched leadership and the encouragement to think critically. What you each have been able to accomplish during your time with Jepson and at the University of Richmond is remarkable and cannot be understated. We know the caliber of individuals that are entering this world from this graduating class, and it's exciting to say the least.
And now we're being sent out. As you transition from learning to leading, we implore you to remember the value of intellectual curiosity, the importance of passion, and the necessity to ask difficult questions. We know you will do great things, and we are both so proud to have been a part of a school so special and content to know that this is not the end of what we've learned. Thank you. And now we invite Lane Grillo, this year's keynote, who will be introducing this year's keynote speaker, up to the stage. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon, Jepson graduating class of 2025, families, friends, faculty, and staff. My name is Lane Grillo. I'm a graduating senior, and I served as a senator in JSGA this school year. It's my pleasure to introduce today's keynote faculty speaker, Dr. Ronald A. Crutcher. Dr. Crutcher is a national leader in higher education and a distinguished classical musician. He served as president of the University of Richmond from 2015 to 2021, just before we got here. Before that, he served as president emeritus of Wheaton College in Massachusetts, and prior to that, he served as provost and executive vice president for academic affairs at Miami University of Ohio. In 2021, he was named a senior fellow at the Aspen Institute. Dr. Crutcher and his wife, Dr. Betty Neal Crutcher, have both served as faculty at the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. I had the pleasure of having Dr. Ron Crutcher, my junior spring for his leadership elective, Leadership in the Future of Higher Education. Having a class taught by the former president of our school, literally the leader of leaders at our institution, was low-key a flex. But I appreciate him so much as a professor, especially since we're both first-generation college students. Dr. Crutcher is also a senator of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, a member of the Board of Institute for the International Education of Students, and a member of the Board of Governors of Bard College Berlin. He also serves as board member of the Jepson Scholars Foundation and the Spider Management Company. Dr. Crutcher also published his book, I Had No Idea You Were Black, Navigating Race on the Road to Leadership, in 2021. Where he expands on the value of liberal education, the democratic purposes of higher education, diversity and inclusion, and free expression on college campuses by connecting it to his experience as a Black man in positions of leadership throughout his career in higher education. Also, Dr. Crutcher has served as member, board member, president, director, and dean in an arrangement of distinguished musical institutions and symphonies throughout his more than 40-year-old career. All of us who had Dr. Crutcher in class have heard about his extremely impressive resume for an entire semester. So this is just a very summarized 5-minute version of it. But without further ado, please welcome Dr. Runaway Crutcher to the stage.
Thanks so much, Lane, for that lovely introduction. And it was indeed a pleasure to have had you, Claire, Alexandria, Jimmy, Anna Laura, Harrison, and Charlie in my Leadership in the Future of Higher Education class last year. As you will recall, you were all guinea pigs. It was the first time I taught the class. But I have to tell you, this year's class outdid you with their future college. There were two colleges they came up with. One was Cowboy Carter College and the Freedom Hrabowski University. And there were three others as well. At any rate, I digress. Faculty, staff, parents, friends, and most importantly, graduates of the Jepson School Class of 2025. It is indeed an honor for me to stand before you today. Graduates, you've worked hard over the past 4 years to complete the course requirements for your degree in leadership studies. Tomorrow, you'll walk across the stage, and we'll really mark the culmination of your work. And boy, have you worked hard. We're here today to celebrate a new beginning as you leave your fellow classmates, professors, and others here in the Jepson School and go out into what is an incredibly complex world. It is very likely that in your interactions with others, you will encounter situations in which you will be knocked off your feet or taken aback by what is said to you or the manner in which it is said. Allow me to share a personal story. 25 years ago, long before I became a university president, I was hurrying to meet with the CEO of an oil company to discuss the possibility of his funding a scholarship for violin students. He was the chairman of a foundation that provided financial support for violin study. But I was head of the Butler School of Music at the University of Texas, and this moment had been months in the making. We said hello, shook hands, and sat down to talk. Then he blurted it out. "I had no idea you were black." I was angry. I took a deep breath. You see, this was not at all how I imagined our conversation beginning. What kind of racist is this man, I thought. Should I just cut this conversation short and walk away? But I had a job to do, you see. My father had always taught me that when someone says something to you that knocks you off your feet, do not respond immediately. So I decided to listen. The man continued to talk. As I listened, I learned that he and his wife had attended the Aspen Music Festival for several years, and they rarely saw any string players of color in the orchestra. He wondered aloud about the dearth of black and brown string players and lamented about this, and wondered how the classical music community could do better in nurturing artists from varied backgrounds. Here is my opening. After all, I was there on a mission. So I talked about what the University of Texas was trying to do in that regard. I told the CEO about one student in particular, a young black woman in whom I saw tremendous potential for a career in classical music. You see, the CEO and I both loved the same art form, I realized, and there we could connect. Our shared enthusiasm for classical music far surmounted my initial discomfort. And you know what? A few weeks later, the music school had its scholarship, and my student went on to earn a coveted position in the viola section of the world-renowned Cleveland Orchestra. Now, graduates, I share this story with you today because you're about to enter a deeply polarized world where any discussion around race, ethnicity, religion, or politics teeters on the edge of diatribe or in the echo chamber of social media. People who are willing to step outside the comfort of their own ideological bubble, who can openly and energetically disagree without acrimony or without threat of retaliation, are now something of an endangered species. And that is disrupting the entire ecosystem of democracy in this country and indeed around the world. Because, you see, The very health of any democracy depends on the energetic exchange of diverse and competing ideas. Sadly, we have not seen much of that on display of late. The election of 2024 only reinforced the deep divides in our country. The extreme polarization we are experiencing now, while not necessarily new, certainly does not portend well for our democracy. Indeed, the actions of the current administration in the first few months are indicative of forces trying to reshape American democracy in ways that will have lasting impact. What is most hypocritical, in my opinion, as a former university president, is the manner in which the administration and other far-right politicians are attempting to inhibit and in some cases actually prohibit free speech on college campuses, public schools, and elsewhere. This is a far cry from the conservative politicians who in recent years criticized colleges and universities for not upholding the tenets of free speech on campus. However, in their zealous attempt to stamp out so-called woke policies related to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, conservative legislators have passed laws that encroach on freedom of speech. Freedom of speech and academic freedom are critical components of any academic institution committed to open inquiry. And for either or both to flourish in an academic community, there must exist a culture in which providing community members the skills and opportunities to engage in conversations across difference is highly valued. Jepson class of 2025, you have received that kind of education here in the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. As you commence your new lives, my invitation to you is as simple as it is challenging. Resolve to resist the indignities of polarization. Polarization is beneath you. Draw on your Jepson education and strive to be active and empathetic listeners who seek first to understand and then to be understood. You have the capacity to be committed to engaging meaningfully with diverse viewpoints, even when opposing or humiliating viewpoints knock you off balance. And you will be knocked off balance at some times, just as I was when I met with the CEO. Wherever you end up after commencement, you will encounter people with perspectives that are markedly divergent from your own. In such moments, when you find yourself navigating a divide, I challenge you not to tear others down or to break the bridges that bind us together. Be bigger than that. Be an intellectual builder. Be victorious with your constructivist education and will to do better. Center your ideas, ask probing questions, listen deeply, consider building a consensus through consultation, and remember that your own experience may or may not necessarily be exactly that of others. The purpose here is not to try to win arguments, not to always be right or to lay blame or shame. Such an approach will only perpetuate the circle of recrimination that has become all too common in our polarized world. Rather, the purpose is to listen closely and to strive to understand, truly understand, why individuals with different viewpoints think and believe as they do. Where is the point of agreement? In the process, your own beliefs will be tested and refined, both better preparing you for engaged citizenship in a world that is in disarray, and perhaps leading to new and surprising connections, just as happened with the oil CEO and me. And the beneficiary of that consultative success, the student who went on to play in a world-class orchestra because of it. Jepson, class of 2025, the world is in a terrible place at the moment. My challenge to each of you is to think about this question. What can I do to make the world a better place? While I know that thought may be overwhelming, I suggest that you start small, one relationship at a time. Before you know it, you will have had an impact on your family, your close friends, your colleagues at work, your community, your school, your church, your university, your nonprofit organization, and so on. This is my call to action for each of you. You are, after all, graduates of the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, so I have no doubt that you are more than up to the challenge. Congratulations, graduates. Best wishes and Godspeed to each of you.
Thank you, Dr. Crutcher. And now, I encourage you to enjoy the next hour of conversation with your loved ones and the faculty and staff of the Jepson School. Please be sure to pick up the awards insert for your program as you leave. We didn't want to spoil anybody's surprise. And please join us for refreshments outside in the Maudlin Center and the courtyard. Congratulations and have a wonderful weekend.